what we're going to do is simply on the chapter on compassion is to consider the compassion of these self-identities. And we're going to do this basically in a meditative style. So I'm going to lead us through a meditation, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it together for a few minutes, and then perhaps we'll go into small groups and discover it. Okay, so we're just going to do this as a guided meditation in terms of self-identity. So if you would go ahead and just find a posture, a comfortable sitting posture. And when we set the intention to sit down and to simply be with our experience, of course, we often first come into contact with sensations in the body. They may be pleasurable, they may not be, but just to notice what those are, just what is the immediate experience like of finding a place to sit and noticing your intention to work with your awareness right now. There are two qualities that in any form of sitting meditation are important. The first quality is that of upright presence, and in the body that is, of course, the straight spine, even shoulders, and also having your sits bones really activated and kind of planted squarely on your cushion or on your chair. We'll begin at the base of the body to establish the posture, and you can begin by simply bringing awareness to your pelvis, and if you'd like to allow a few rocking motions, just to really locate your sits bones and feel the mobility of your pelvis and your hips. And if I can invite the word to enjoy that sensation, to let yourself expand into the body in a joyful way, because we have lots of training that's not so good about our body. Bring your awareness to your knees. If you're sitting in a chair, to your knees, and then to the bottoms of your flat, heavy feet on the floor, and the sensation of gravity, the gravity beneath your feet, and how gravity connects you to the floor as well as the base of your chair. As thoughts arise, as your attention wanders, give yourself an extremely wide field. Don't reprimand yourself, but do bring awareness back to what I'm saying, and any sort of form of berating your mind wandering is just sort of unnecessary. Just bring your awareness back. If you're sitting in a cross-legged posture, I'd really like you to become aware of the base of your body, your sits bones on the cushion, your knees on the floor. Really allow yourself to kind of feel the dynamic quality of your body and gravity, and really find a kind of stability in the very base of your body. Find the position of your pelvis that just most supports you, really deeply connecting to the floor. If you'd like to allow breath into the belly, now would be a good time. Just allow the breath to help you sink down. Now bring your awareness, if you would, to your spinal column. Feel the spine. Allow the spine to lift and steady itself in relationship to the pelvis. The spine's always capable of a little more lift than we tend to want to give it room for, so really let it float. Let your shoulders drop, so now you're feeling the dynamism moving downward again. Let your shoulders drop. Your hands can rest heavily on your knees, or if you're used to it, you can use the Cosmic Mudra cupped at the base of your belly. I'm not going to give instructions on the mudra, so if you know it, go with it. Open the back of your neck. Release your jaw. Spontaneous inhale, at least for me. Bring your awareness to your lips, your teeth. Your lips are lightly closed, your teeth are apart, your tongue is resting on your upper palate. Just allow the breath to be easy as it arises. Bring your awareness to your eyes. Relax the backs of your eyes. I like to use the image of water pouring off the back of my eyeball. We know the amygdala is located right there, which is the signal that keeps you in fight or flight. So relax behind the eyes. Bring your awareness to the top of your head, and just to expand a little bit, I like to imagine a halo. It's not in the tradition, but a little light sphere just above your head that you'll sometimes see in yogic drawings. Keeps your awareness a little bit larger. Now allow that awareness to feel like an energetic egg around your body. Bring your attention inward. Notice whatever thoughts are arising. Be friendly towards them. Allow them to dissolve. And bring your attention now for just a moment to what we call we're using this word, the egocentric self. And just notice the egocentric self. And on the in-breath, feel feel the shape of that in your body, the shape of that in your mind. And on the out-breath, just let yourself breathe out and just feel incredible compassion for the ego's challenges and struggles. And at an interval that is comfortable for you on the in-breath, feel the contraction of the ego, and on the out-breath, feel the release and feel the compassion for the ego. Perhaps there's a particular issue in your life that's causing you trouble. For a moment, just feel that. And be compassionate towards yourself and that situation. Again, as the breath draws in, notice the ego. As the breath goes out, allow compassion. Sometimes traditionally they invite you to invite a dark or a heavy color on the in-breath, and on the out-breath, expansive, light, warmth, open. Getting to know these qualities in our experience. I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes to work with that before we move on. And do it at your own pace, do it in your own way. You might notice on the in-breath subtle textures of emotional states. There could be a quality of grief, of fragility, Maybe there are traces of anger. When you feel the contours of the small self, there's often emotional texture. So allow that to be part of the in-breath. And on the out-breath, extend with compassion. And before we move to the next level in the meditation, I'd like you just to reflect on the retraining of the cognitive mind and nervous system, that your nervous system is expanding and that your cognitions are capable of shifting. Now we're moving to the ethnocentric identity. On the in-breath, what I'd like you to do is reflect on those close to you, your family, and feel, if you will, just the challenges of those who are most immediate to you. In my own life, I have a brother who's an addict. I have another brother who's mad. There are just qualities about that are not really what our preferences are. So on the in-breath, take those qualities in, feel for the pain, the difficulty in those people around you. Feel the darkness of that or the difficulty of that. Take that in, feel that, and on the out-breath, release and allow compassion. Again, qualities of light and warmth. Now I would like you just to widen that ethnocentric circle ever so larger. Just imagine again, maybe more extended family, more people who are a little bit further away but that you still identify with, in a sense of an ethnocentric kind of identity. If you'd like to bring in the struggle of being a Canadian or being an American or a European, extend to include the struggles of that identity. The current challenges on an ethnocentric level. Again, use the breath, relax. Just trust yourself. Let your mind swirl. Let these qualities come up. Feel the heaviness, darkness on the in-breath. On the out-breath, feel compassion. Feel letting go. Pema Chodron says a really sweet thing. She says, imagine giving people something that would allow them to feel better, like a cup of coffee. I like that playful image of just offering something to someone. And now I'd like to invite your identification to enlarge to the world-centric self, including the perspectives that being world-centric allow for us. Keeping in mind that often in our experience, a world-centric perspective is a little less embodied because much of it is activated through our use of technology and through the news. But, we have experience. We've all traveled. We've all seen the world. We've all, been to large cities around the planet, or most of us have. And just to experience the largesse of that and the complexity of the situation on the planet. Allow your sensibility to breathe in the struggles and to, on an out-breath, really feel a compassion that's great enough to include that. I think in my own practice often that I relate to the excitement of the world-centric space, and I relate often to certainly to the fear and the challenges I feel in a world-centric space, but I don't often allow my mind to dwell in compassion for this particular level for whatever reason. It's a little marginalized in my experience. So for you, can you just connect to the heart and feel on the out-breath just a big wave of compassion for the struggling planet? And finally, I would like to ask you to identify as the cosmic centric self. Experience the feeling of boundlessness, lack of identification, immediacy, nowness. Really feel the emptiness of concept itself. Dwell, if you will, for a few moments without grasping, without seeking. Feel the quality of open space, free from desire, aversion, and identification. And as you do that, you might notice a spontaneous softening. You might notice that compassion arises of its own nature. That compassion and emptiness are really one thing. So now, instead of extending compassion, I would like to invite you to be compassion. Compassion without identification of a self. So if you're with me, what I'd like to do is invite you to speak as this voice of compassion that is, for this moment, free of self-identification. Allow me to speak to the voice of great compassion. Lily, as great compassion, or the compassion beyond identity, what do you have to say?
I felt this opening in my heart, and just on growing on its own. Am I wording this correctly? As the
Yeah, I think you're wording it exactly as you're wording it. I don't think there's any right or wrong happening. So yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, I have something else to say. I have something else to
Please
add.
Please.
As I feel this big opening in the heart, but also like growing on its own without my ego interfering. It's not like something I'm producing, but it's just there. And also like sadness. Like tears came to my eyes and just deep sadness and opening.
All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. I think I talk a little bit about grief in the chapter. Grief is absolutely a part of the landscape of spiritual growth, particularly when you recognize impermanence and particularly when you recognize suffering. But it's a robust grief. It's not a stuck grief. It's a grief that comes and goes and purifies, if you will. Pilar, please.
Yes, I also felt tears in my eyes, and I feel accepted unconditionally and completely forgiven. I really
very good.
Gratitude.
Very good.
A lot of gratitude.
Very good. Very good. Completely forgiven and gratitude. Thank you very much. Anyone else? As great compassion. And if you're struggling, if you feel like you're not quite on the journey, I'd be happy to work with you. We're doing a very particular thing that's not quite what we usually do. Yeah, Nick, please, Nick.
It was interesting. I think as it came up through the worldview, lots of emotion, and but in the cosmic self, just one single phrase is just everything is forgivable and forgettable. Nice, awesome, beautiful, forgivable and forgettable. And here's the beautiful thing, everyone, is that we're getting to participate in these spiritual teachings, but we're doing it a little different than conventional spiritual practice, so therefore we get to discover new ways of simply articulating experience. So everything, we might be able to find forgivable and forgettable in a text, but I've never heard it before and I like it. Thank you, Nick. Brooke, please.
As great compassion, I find that I arise out of stillness and I sort of bubble up and percolate and I move. So I can come to rest, but I'm never permanently at rest. I move to where I'm needed and where I might be helpful.
Very good, very good. In Zen training, we call this the total function, or the great function. So manifestation of compassion, realization and manifestation, right? Realization and manifestation. And when we manifest, wisdom, or our capacity to see clearly, is joined with compassion. So then we start acting in ways, if we're lucky, that actually do serve others and don't simply just contribute to a fearful kind of environment. Thank you, Brooke. Appreciate that. The voice of great compassion. Pat, and then Leela. Go ahead, Pat.
So there's the voice of great compassion. There's a sense of brokenheartedness that doesn't contract.
All right. Okay, good, everyone. Everybody's really connecting with the tears, the brokenheartedness, and yet staying present in spite of all that. Or in spite is not really quite right. It's almost because of it. Because as big heart, you're not separate from the suffering either. You're one and the same. Leela, as great compassion.
As the voice of a cosmic self, there's this expansion and ease. Everything is soft and open and nothing's grabbing.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Non-grasping. We say often non-seeking, non-grasping, non-desiring mind. Beautiful. Now keep in mind, guys, you know, the role of desire in relationship to practice, there is a role of desire, but that's not the point of what we're clarifying right now. Right now what we're doing is just connecting to this open space that to some degree is free of motive, right? In the sense of what we normally think of as motive. It is free of motive. And yet, there's a great intentionality present, okay? Let's take a couple more, and then I'd like to open it up to questions. So as the voice of great compassion, Marianne, please.
As the voice of great compassion, I'm non-judgmental, all accepting.
All right. Beautiful. So Tati, who was with us in Argentina, is not able to get on the mic, but she sends a text that says, I am touching things as the sun's rays do. I'm touching all things as the sun's rays do. Thank you, Tati. Beautiful. Thank you for sending that in. Pilar, please.
That sounded like with infinite generosity.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Hafez has a poem, everybody. Hafez has a poem, the great Persian poet. The sun, the moon never says to the sun, you owe me. Look what happens with a love like that. It lights up the whole sky.